Guys, do you know how intimidating it is to have done a 2 or 3 hour show prep and then a giant news event take place right before you get to go on air and potentially stare down the barrel of having to scrap it all and do something completely different live on the fly? Luckily, you're dealing with a professional. That would never happen. That would never happen. You will never come up against a situation I cannot handle. But it was close. If you watch the Erika Kirk interview, I did as well. That's why I'm an hour late today. I did not want to, I didn't want to force you to choose. I didn't want to force my family to choose. My mother and my sister were like, man, we're going to watch Erika Kirk. We like you, but we're going to watch her. And so I, being a true professional, made a game time decision to go an hour late. I do have thoughts on the interview. I will get to them. I'm going to run through my normal opening. I'm going to add the Erika Kirk interview to the list of topics that I want to talk about because I did take some notes while she was talking. But I do not tell people I never gave you anything. I gave you no ultimatum. I agree. Actually, I don't want to be president. I saw this. I don't want to be president. I don't want to be president because I see what it's done to Donald Trump, and I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to have, he ran like, well, I'll talk about that later. But last night we had an election. I am going to get to Erika Kirk. I am going to get to all these other topics I want to talk about, but I do want to open with the election results from last night because they were absolutely what we expected to happen, and people are still wringing their hands. And so for answers about the election results from last night around the country, including Mamdani's win in New York, I want to take you back in time. Because by the time I'm finished with this monologue, not only will the election results make sense, the current political frustrations between the parties and within the parties. You saw the Ben Shapiro, Nick Fuentes meltdown. You saw all the fighting the last few weeks over Tucker Carlson. That also will all make sense. It should all start to make sense. But I want to go back in time for 30 years. I want to go back to 1994. And I'm doing this for a reason. So bear with me. Give me the 2 minutes to get this out of the way to set up the whole rest of the show. Don't get lost in the numbers I'm about to give you. Because 1994 was just over 30 years ago. Your humble host was just 15 years old at the time. The median house back then, 130 grand. And at just under 2,000 square feet, nice starter home, right? Average families, median salary, $27,000. You're starting to do a little math in your head. I can see the wheels turning. The median house sold last year was $420,000. That's more than triple the cost. And only 10% more square footage, lest you think it's attributable to the McMansion phenomenon. It's not. The median salary has not tripled. It's barely doubled since 1994. Back then, there was a guy named Yoshiaki Tsutsumi. He was the richest man on earth in 1994. He was a Japanese businessman. He was worth about $8.5 billion. And if you just scoffed at that number because of the shocking wealth the richest people in the world have now, just understand at the time, Bill Gates was the second richest man on earth. Warren Buffett was third. Each had around $8 billion. The price of gold, an ounce, was $383. Today, the richest man on earth, Elon Musk. Up-to-date estimates put his wealth somewhere between $490 and $500 billion. That's $500 billion for those of you proficient in high numbers. So to compare the richest man on earth in 1994, Elon Musk's wealth is more than 57 times that of Tsutsumi's fortune in 1994. In fact, there are 68 billionaires on earth today that have more money than the richest man on earth had in 1994. Price of gold. This is going to play into this. It's going to play into all the election things, so stay tuned to here. The price of gold is currently around $4,000. More than 10 times the price it was in 1994. To summarize, and I know some people right now are in dire need of a summary, so let me summarize because I've just fired a bunch of numbers through the screen, and I don't want you to get lost. The richest people in society are getting much richer than ever before. And the rest of us are stuck trying to buy houses that are 3 times as expensive on twice the salary. And you'll notice that math doesn't add up. Can't do it. That math doesn't work. And the math doesn't work because of that random fact I threw in there about the price of gold. priced in ounces of gold, houses are actually cheaper than they were in 1994, believe it or not. Cheapest house in the median house, in 1994 was equivalent of 339 ounces of gold. Today, it's just 105. Salaries follow the same pattern. 1994, the average salary equated to 70 ounces of gold per year. This year, it's just 15 ounces of gold per year, meaning if you worked an entire year in 1994, you would have gotten 70 ounces of gold. If you work an entire year, this is median, an entire year this year, you only get 15 ounces of gold. And that's because gold is priced as a global commodity. And here's where I want to drive home the context that sets up last night's election results. The cheapest gold has been in my lifetime was in 2001. The summer of 2001, gold was $259 an ounce. That fall, we kicked off the global war on terror. Since the global war on terror, gold prices have been on a relentless climb. $260 an ounce back then, up to $4,000 an ounce and counting now. And to compensate, your standard of living has collapsed because gold's the great equalizer. It's a universal measuring stick. It doesn't lie. It will always be a shiny metal, yellow metal, and it will always tell you how weak or strong your national economy is, your national currency is. And by extension, it'll tell you how weak or strong is your standard of living. And important to you as you begin to age, as I get to my age, it will tell you how weak or strong is the future of your children and grandchildren. And because salaries have absolutely collapsed in terms of gold, nearly everything in society has become unaffordable. In 1994, you got 70 ounces of gold for your work. That's 70 ounces of gold worth to buy a house, to buy a car, health insurance, groceries, go on vacation, send your kid to college, maybe even save a little for a rainy day. Today, a year's salary, a median salary in the United States priced in gold is 21% of a 1994 median salary, meaning you get just 21% of the equivalent ounces of gold for your annual labor. That's why people can't buy a house. That's why they can't buy a car. They can't buy health insurance, go buy groceries, go on vacation, send their kids to college. They can't even think about saving a little for a rainy day. And there's one primary cause of the collapse of the U.S. dollar relative to gold. It's war. It's war. That's why gold has collapsed. It's war. We've spent trillions and trillions and trillions of American dollars on war since 2001. We've fought nearly every country in the Middle East. Those we haven't fought, we've drawn up plans because we're going to fight them and likely fight them soon. We've spent and will continue to spend our nation's standard of living fighting wars that have no relevance to our way of life. We fought countries that pose no threat to our country. We've destroyed our future, our children's future, and our grandchildren's future to secure the future of others. That's what's meant by the term globalism. It's the exfiltration of wealth out of this country. It is managed American decline. That's the definition of globalism. Managed American decline. It makes a few hundred, maybe even a few thousand people disgustingly wealthy, and it destroys the rest of us. And this is why young people in particular, but a lot of people are turning to people like Mamdani for elected office. Honest people knew that last night Republicans did not have a chance in New York. They didn't have a chance in New Jersey. They didn't have a chance in Virginia. Those states are blue. So there's nothing to read into those election results relative to Trump or relative to the midterms coming up. Nothing at all. Politics are local, and they're particularly local when people are hurting. And they're hurting. And we can only ignore their hurting for so long. You've heard a lot of people terrified of Mamdani. I've seen it all over social media today. I've heard it all over the news channels. Mainstream political parties are telling you they're terrified of Mamdani for this, that Muslim, and he's got radical politics. I'm telling you right now, they're not scared of his Muslim faith. They're not scared of his radical politics. Just 2 months ago, former four-star general and head of the CIA, Stanley McChrystal, you remember him? He met with the Syrian leader Ahmed al-Sharaa in September and fawned all over him. For context, Al-Sharaa was a leader with Al-Qaeda before leaving them to go join ISIS. It's like leaving Coke to go fight for Pepsi. He's directly responsible for the deaths of untold numbers of Americans who were fighting him in war. And there he was on a stage in New York, hailed as a hero by the American general who was leading American forces in an American war using American dollars and losing American lives. And Stanley McChrystal hailed him as a hero after we spent trillions of dollars fighting him and people like him. So it's not his faith. It's not his radical national politics. It's not any of that that's causing the mainstream parties to lose their mind. That's not why they're freaking out over the election last night. It's the fact that his election, it portends the end of their gluttonous destruction of American capital. They've been raiding the pantry and looting America's storehouses for the last 3 decades. And Mamdani's election means people are finally getting sick of it. I have no idea what kind of mayor he'll be. I have no idea. And I have no idea what kind of governors were elected in New Jersey and Virginia. I know they're Democrats. That doesn't mean much these days. Democrats and Republicans are all kind of the same. It's us versus them. It's us versus them. If you're watching this, it's probably you and me and all of our friends watching this versus them. I mean, even Trump. Trump campaigned like Donald Trump, but he governs a lot like George Bush. My guess is these globalists who are destroying your way of life to enrich themselves are burning up the phone lines right now, trying to get all these newly elected officials on the phone. They'll be on planes in the coming days. And what comes of those meetings is anyone's guess. If the past is any guide, they'll all be bought off. They'll govern from the same milquetoast moderate positions while the labor of everyday Americans continues to produce less and less value for themselves and their families. This was the first election post Charlie Kirk. I couldn't help but think about that last night as the results rolled in. For 13 years, his career revolved around trying to get young people out for free market ideas, liberty, free market principles. And unfortunately for him, free market principles haven't been on the ballot in a long time. And if this pattern continues, they may never be on the ballot again. It's been 56 days since he passed away. In those 56 days, those in charge of the election, or the investigation rather, into his death have been less than forthcoming. I saw a little bit of that on the Erika Kirk interview tonight. So we'll continue tonight to look at the investigation with a particular eye tonight towards how TPUSA began and a sudden shift that took place in 2021. And we'll ask why it shifted and whether that shift could have led to his death. And we will talk about the Erika Kirk interview. I do have thoughts on that. I'll lead with that in a second. Just a few notes. I do not attack grieving widows on this program. If you came for that, I'm sorry. I also want to take a bird's eye view of this Nick Fuentes generational run, particularly with respect to the Ben Shapiro controversy or whatever it was he was trying to do with his 45-minute rant the other night. Or was that today? Man, time goes fast. But also just the general consensus, because I see a lot of the same people, Nick Fuentes and Mamdani, it's two sides of the same coin with their attacks. And I think there's a reason for that. And I think what I highlighted in the monologue tonight has a lot to do with the fear about Nick Fuentes. And finally, and this is a fatal mistake. I made a fatal mistake last night. I sat down and read comments from the past few shows. I thought the emails were harsh before I read the comments. The comments are brutal. There are a lot of fawning, nice comments, and I appreciate you for writing those. But tonight, let me apologize because apparently I wiggle too much in my chair, especially during a monologue. I get excited. You got to remember, guys, I come from radio. No one can see me. No one could see anything I did. I could play with my headphones. I could wiggle in my chair. I like to get farther or closer to the microphone for effect. I can't do that on camera, apparently. So I apologize for that, and I will try to stop. I even changed where my headphones come in so it'll pull on me if I start to wiggle. And I'll also start adding chapters to the live streams. And the final thing I'll say, I get a lot of requests for people that they say, can you clip this? Can you clip that? I'd like to share it. So I clip it because if I get 25 or 30 people asking for the same clip and they share it, that probably means there are others that didn't ask for it that also would like to share the same clip. So I've been doing that in the days after I do the live stream. And I've realized a lot of people don't read descriptions on YouTube because in the description on YouTube, I put, this is a clip from the live stream dated here. Here is a link to that live stream if you want to see more. And then I get every comment is like, I heard this last night. Is this the same thing you did last night? I'm like, read the description. Read the description. All right. I want to review the Kirk notes real quick because a couple things caught me. One, wiggle, do your thing. This is what I like. Wiggle, do your thing. I suppose this is the time for it. That's what she said. Here are my thoughts on the Erika Kirk interview. I don't know what they set out to accomplish. If I'm going to do an interview, I'm going to have a purpose in mind. What is it I'm trying to accomplish during this interview? So, I'm Erika Kirk. I'm the new CEO of TPUSA. My husband just passed away 56 days ago. What is it I want to accomplish in this interview? I'm not sure Jesse Waters is the right format. I'm not sure Jesse Waters is the right format. Here's why I say that. I wasn't sure tonight who had more makeup on, whether it was Erika Kirk or Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters looks, I don't know. Jesse, I'm wiggling guy. I got to wiggle. I cannot sit still like that. I'm sorry. I might even have to move my headphones around in the middle of this. I cannot sit still. This is not who I am. I've even given up a lot of stimulants here lately. I'm kind of going with I'm nonlinear thinking for a second. I'm kind of going to the Mormon diet. I quit drinking a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. I quit nicotine not terribly long ago. And I am down to, I only had 1 cup of coffee today. I'm practically Joseph Smith. You could call me Elder Baron. There's something to it because every time I quit something, I feel better. I get up better. I think better. No, not that one. Where was it? It goes too fast. Someone said, how many ADDers are here? Hey, that's why I wiggle so much. Anyway, if I'm Erika Kirk, I think, what do I want to accomplish with my interview? So I would want to accomplish 2 things. Only 2 things. She tried to accomplish, I think, too many things. I would want to accomplish 2 things. One, I would want people to know TPUSA is in firm hands with my leadership. That's the first, honestly, that is the first thing I would want to do. I would want to do that more than talk about my deceased husband, even though that's why everyone tuned in. But the reality is the biggest concern isn't how is a grieving widow doing 56 days later. That's up in the air. No one knows how a grieving widow is supposed to be 56 days later or 156 or 256 days later. So I'm not sure that's ever going to be the primary concern. But number one is I would want people to know, hey, I'm the CEO of this place. I'm kicking butt and taking names. We're doing better than we ever have, and we're not looking back. So that's the first thing I would want to accomplish. The second thing I would want to accomplish is I would want to affirm the people who loved my husband before he died. I would want to affirm the people who loved my husband before he died. So friends, family, fans. I would want those 2 things to be accomplished. That's the only thing I would want to talk about. I wouldn't be talking about all the emotional stuff they talked about tonight. I would have taken it from a completely different angle. Because it was weird to me, and it felt a little, I don't want to say grimy, but I felt a little weird. I don't know how you guys felt. I felt a little grimy listening to some of that stuff. When she talked about the night before, he didn't get to sleep in his own bed because the daughter was, and that's nice. I mean, whatever. Kids sleep in beds. People, I mean, at our house, people sleep everywhere. No one's ever in the same bed 2 nights in a row. Well, I sleep in my bed every night, but I mean, kids are all over the place and people, whatever. But I felt really weird when she's like, I didn't even get to kiss him before he left. All he did was come in and get his wedding ring and his necklace and leave. I thought, that's a weird, I mean, why are you telling me that? Now I got to think, was there something going on? He didn't sleep in his own bed with his own wife before he was going to be out of town? It was weird, man. And I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that. The only thing I want to think about after that, the only thing I want to walk away from as a fan, if I'm a Charlie Kirk fan or I'm a guy that loved Charlie Kirk or I just wanted to get more information because I'm a big TPUSA guy, the only thing I want to think about at the end of the interview is, hey, TPUSA is going to be fine. TPUSA is going to be fine. And Erika loves us because we loved her husband. Those are the only 2 things I want to think about. And what the hell was Mikey McCoy doing in the interview? It was like a Rick Astley video started playing. It was like, never gonna give you up. I was like, what the hell is he doing? He's everywhere. I was waiting for him to walk away. I wanted to get his explanation if we're talking about this. Well, if we're getting into the death day, let's talk about it. Why were you walking away like this? And why did you keep walking away like this? Well, I had to plug my ears. Why did no one else plug their ears? The amazing Mikey McCoy. The field battle general, according to Andrew Colvett. The battle general. I'm going to call him Rick Astley from now on. Mikey Astley. That's probably a little, actually, he might be a little too happy for that nickname. You can't call someone the Flintstones and then call him Mikey Astley. That might be too close to home. I'll just stick with the field general. General McCoy. General McCoy. I did not tune in for a General McCoy rickroll. That is not why I tuned into the Erika Kirk interview. And does Mikey McCoy show up to work dressed like he's the CEO of GE? I mean, he had on a $5,000 suit, it looked like. But I don't want to talk about Mikey McCoy. Well, I do, actually. I am going to talk about him a little bit tonight, as a matter of fact. But that was so weird, man. As soon as I heard that, I thought, what is going on? Why is he here? That's as bad as, I mean, the reality is Charlie's last family vacation, damn, Rick Roll was there on the family vacation. Candace shared that yesterday. She was asked if there was a coincidence that he was answering a question about trans violence. And she said, no, I don't believe in coincidences. Oh, she didn't say no. She said, I don't believe in coincidences. Well, I don't either. I don't either, as a matter of fact. I don't think it was a coincidence either, Erika. We're one and the same on that. But then they was asked, and I have to go back and rewatch this. I came directly from here. I looked everywhere for a transcript. Some high profile, I guess she's not high profile enough, but some very high profile interviews, they'll put the transcript out at the same time it starts to air. So if you're going to report on it immediately after, I've been doing this for years, if you're going to report on it immediately afterwards, you have the transcript to refer to so you don't get it wrong. But they didn't do that I could find. I looked all over Fox feeds, official feeds. I couldn't find anything. Looked over X. But she was asked, do they have the right guy? And what do you think of all the different theories? And I have to go back and rewatch that part of the interview and read the transcript. I don't think she answered it. Do you? Do you remember her answering that question? I remember her filibustering the question. I remember her filibustering the question. I remember her going on and on and on about the question. But I don't remember her answering the question. And I would like to know the answer to the question. She said just some grace would be nice. Yeah, I mean, agreed, but some of us want to find out who killed him. Some of us want to know if there's an international hit squad on the loose. I mean, this is a real concern for some of us. Is there an international hit squad on the loose in America? Why? Because we go to other public events. Erika, your husband wasn't the only celebrity in the country. He wasn't the only political figure. He wasn't the only guy giving speeches. And some of us want to know if we're in danger when we go to these places. And if we don't know who did it, we don't know if we're in danger. If it was an Egyptian hit squad, if it was an Israeli hit squad, if it was an Iranian hit squad, if it was a Russian or a Ukrainian hit squad, if it was an Australian hit squad, if it was an American hit squad, I want to know. Because you know what I don't believe? I don't believe one guy living with a furry, playing Magic the Gathering, figured out how to do this. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I would like you to answer. Do we have the right guy? She seemed at the funeral to indicate so. She didn't seem so confident tonight. That's a yes/no question. You lead with the yes or the no. If you're asked, do you have the right guy? Yes, next question. Next question. Do you have a follow-up? I will answer that as well. The other weird part was this imputation of what Charlie is thinking in heaven is really weird. Oh, Charlie's this. I don't know what to make of it. I've never heard anyone do it in person, and maybe she's Catholic. I'm Catholic. Maybe she grew up in a different type of Catholic. I don't know. But I know that it's really weird. Now, did anyone notice the weirdest thing of the night? Did anyone notice the weirdest thing of the night? After Mr. Flintstone's Rick Astleying us in the middle of it, did anyone else notice the weirdest part of the night? She is too Catholic. Someone says she's not Catholic. She's Catholic. She was born Catholic. She was baptized Catholic. She was confirmed Catholic. She's Catholic. She might not be practicing Catholic, but she's Catholic. All right. After the Rick roll from General McCoy, the amazing General McCoy, after the Rick roll, the weirdest thing of the night, I'm watching it. I'm finishing my show prep for this program. I'm putting things in order that I want to cover. I'm pulling up all my tabs because I produced this whole thing alone because it doesn't make enough money to hire somebody to help me. But I'm putting all this together. And Officer Tatum shows up on my screen. Did he show up on your screen? Officer Tatum shows up on my screen, and he's now the spokesman for the company that was the major sponsor for the event where he died, where Charlie died. Officer Tatum. I felt assaulted. I almost called 911. It was bad enough that Mikey was smiling at me. That was bad enough. He's bubbly. He's smiley. Ask Blake Neff, who, frankly, also appears a little bubbly and smiley himself. I felt assaulted. I did not consent to having Officer Tatum appear on my screen and start lecturing me about refinancing my house. That was not part of the gig. I was not told that would happen. Had I known, I might not have tuned in. And my final note is he was asked twice. She was asked twice if she felt safe. Twice. Do you feel safe? I might not feel safe if my husband was just gunned down. I don't know. She said she did, and I take her at her word. I do not criticize grieving widows. I might have a different approach. I would have approached that interview completely differently. That interview and I would have had a totally different outcome. But she chose to go the emotional route, and that's fine. I'm not sure that's, I wouldn't have advised her of that. But whatever. See, the part of the problem is when you do that, you're stuck with the answers. She could never change anything she said. Just like Blake Neff is stuck with all his ridiculous answers when he was giving his explanation for his 90-minute treatise on life and vocations while he was running from a hail of bullets. He's stuck with that answer. What did you do next? Well, then I had to think about whether I was going to run in and try to save Charlie. And then I had to turn and... No, you didn't. I saw you. You kind of juked left. You juked right. You took off behind the screen. You did a little hop step around some lady that got in your way. And then you were gone. You were gone. And so I would have advised her, have she come to me and she just said, but Baron, I need advice on how to handle this. I would have said, listen, I don't care what Jesse asks you. You keep two things in mind. TPUSA is in good hands. TPUSA is in good hands, and we love Charlie's fans. We love his fans. And nothing gets you off either one of those. It's like running for office, right? It's like running for office. You're running for local office. You know the guy you're running against blocked the swing set at the park, and it's a municipal tragedy. The only thing you talk about is the swing set. What's the weather like today? It'd be a better day if there was a swing set at the park. I promised you that. But unfortunately, my opponent blocked the swing set, so we will never know. What are you going to do this weekend? I'm not swinging on the swing set because I would love to take my kids to the swing set, but he blocked the swing set. You remember that, right? I don't care what they asked you, Erika. You focus on those two things. TPUSA's in good hands. I love the fans. All right, let me get to these. Let me get to some of these real quickly, these supers, before we get rolling with the bulk of the show. Regarding Charlie, as early mention of specific UVU courtyard location from TPUSA was 9/7 via archive. Hey, I got some archive stuff today that's going to blow your mind. The webpage had a couple Google match searches for UVU courtyard. Trends data suggests it was not made public earlier than 9/7. I agree. Ian, the other night on this program, mentioned that in a comment. And I went back and looked it up. I find no reference to the UVU courtyard before 2 days shy of the event. 2 days shy of the event. Hit the thumbs up, give credit where it's due. Yes, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, notifications, like, share, all that good stuff. I know this name. Thanks for starting an hour late, but the interview is still on. No, it's not. Ended. Love the show. I'm so glad many people are getting to appreciate your brilliant mind. Well, I appreciate that. Those are high. That's high praise indeed from someone who has not always praised me quite so highly. I kid. I'm her biggest fan. She's my biggest fan. I can't help it. But I am pretty confident the interview is over. All this talk of yours must be making the Fed suspicious. Take care, Baron. There was one president that wanted to stay on the gold standard. That is true, and he lost his head over it. So let's not get too carried away. Gary from Paramount Tactical said you're an idiot because of your research on Google Trends. I don't care. I don't think he's an idiot. I like his stuff, some of it. But I really don't care. We'll talk about him more one day. There may be a reason he's calling me an idiot. True Vades, Baron, F the haters, dude. You've obviously been doing your thing. That must be about me wiggling during my opening. I can't help it. I love everything about your show. Don't change, including the wiggles. There's a setting that allows viewers to create clips from your stream that could help get them out there and take the pressure off you to do so. I'm happy for you guys to spread the message however you want. It's like the Savannah Bananas, baby. Spread the message. I don't care. My daughter is paranoid that people are making money off of my content because they're running it on TikTok. I said, honey, if you want to start it on TikTok, you have fun. You're the only one that has permission to do so, but we're not going to fight other people who are doing it. I would love to pay for, wow, Kay Perry? Not Katy Perry, obviously. You've never been to space, ma'am, have you? I would love to pay for a membership and do investigative streaming with you and others, as discussed. LFG, love watching you. Great job. All your work has confirmed my suspicions. Learned a lot from you about Google Trends. I would love to do it as well. Thank you for the generous donation. Love to do it as well. We'll do it. I will do it. We'll get to, I don't know when. It'll be a couple weeks. I've got to get a few things right in this room first. That's about all I want to say. But I need to get a few things right in this room before I go live any longer than the 2 days a week I'm doing right now. And if I do it for the members, it'll probably be limited to an hour or so and really give and take. Not lecture, not opening monologue, kind of a log on live. What are you guys thinking? Here's what I'm thinking. How do you want to divide and conquer this? That's more of that than me sitting down and spending 2 hours writing a monologue. Well, let's be honest, it doesn't take 2 hours. But you know what I mean. All right. See your October 26th live, 13824 speakers at Bulling. I don't know what all that means. Speakers at Bulling. I don't know what any of that means, but thank you. Very generous donation. Melissa B., her response to Jesse's question about when she loved him was weird. It was like he knew, but I had to pray about it. She didn't answer the question. I noticed that. Again, women are weirdos sometimes. If you've ever been married to one or have ever been one, you would know that. Men are direct. I'll give you a story about the first time I met my wife, for example. Maybe this will resonate with the Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk story. I'm living in an apartment. This would have been in the mid to late 90s. I'm living in an apartment, and this woman, this beautiful girl, like 19-year-old girl, comes running up, and she's older than I am. I was 18, I think, at the time. She comes walking up the steps, and I was just captivated. I was like, wow. And I just watched her as she walked in, and she just went by me and into her apartment. I thought, woo. I don't know what it was. You know, sometimes you just get, I've never believed at love at first sight, but I was so captivated that I talked to my mother later that day. Now, this is back when long-distance phone calls were expensive. They're like 40 cents a minute. So you didn't talk to your mom every day. It wasn't like when you have these things and you can call anyone you want whenever you want. No. You had to plan it. You had to plan it because AT&T wanted to take a hefty portion of your soul for making a phone call. So I talked to my mom. I said, Mom, I met the woman I'm going to marry. And she said, oh, amazing. What's her name? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't talked to her. I just met her. She went by. I said, hey. She said, hey. So we talked back and forth a little bit. A few weeks of me pursuing her being annoyed, me asking, little small questions, her looking back like, why are you talking to me, you freaking weirdo? And then she would go into her apartment. Can I get a slice of that pizza? She's carrying a pizza in. Hey, can I get a slice of that? No, shut up. And then go, hey, my cable's out. Can I watch the football game at your place? No. And so, in 21st century, I'd probably be arrested by now. Certainly fired, blacklisted from every social media site. I'd be on some creepy boyfriend site. I don't know. Are we dating the same guy? Married and 8 kids. It worked out. Men, don't take no for an answer. I'm just kidding. That is not advice. That was a joke. I never was told no. I was just told no and then walked off. Hey, you know the difference between no and no. So there I was. So I understand what she's saying. Like Charlie probably had that same thing I had, love at first sight. Wow. And Erika probably had the same thing my only wife, my wife has. My wife was like, why is he weird? Why is he hanging out on his porch all day? See the difference? So I'll give her a pass on that. When opportune, check Erika Lyman, Romania. Pre-Charlie, Utah was in the pick. I've heard about it. I've never seen it. If someone wants to email it to me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Oh, speaking. I'm taking that off. Because I was told it was annoying and it caused people to be dizzy. So I'm removing the scroller. Because in one of my comments, I'd love to watch your show, but your stupid scroller made me dizzy. Told you she was faking gay. I didn't get that necessarily. I mean, she's not my cup of tea, but whatever. No, not everyone is. Thank you for doing the Lord's work, and thank you, Ian, for intro. Yeah, thank you, Ian. You brought a lot of fans this way, and I do appreciate it. Looked through tons of TPUSA outdoor events last year and noticed pattern. Dan Flood almost always right-hand side of Charlie Kirk, but on 910, Dan Flood to left. Beyond that, I will talk about another pattern tonight from past events. I have some pictures from past events, and we'll talk about how those pictures differ from this event and whether it is evidence that there was a plan to have him muck ducked. Mad World. She chooses emotional because people won't question grieving widows. She knows what she's doing. It's scary to watch. People see if it. Again, maybe she's just an emotional person. I don't question grieving widows. I just don't. Wow. Kamalani 4, thank you very, very much. That is incredibly generous. Incredibly, incredibly generous. As is yours, Blue Cheer. Wow. You guys don't even have anything to say. Thank you very much. Thank you. That does mean a lot. It makes it so much easier to come on and do this when there's value attached to it. Epstein equals toe tag. I don't know what that means. I believe you, but I don't know what that means. I mean, he was killed, obviously. Review my comments after stream. Huge discovery on Google Trends. Foreign surveillance leading to a plot to kill me. Come again. I was going to say email it to me, but I don't know that I want to be a part of that. Good luck. Good luck. Now, if you think listen, if you think someone's trying to kill you, call the police. All I can say. They might think you're crazy. But call the police. Not coming at a grieving widow, but she sure did look up her script before and during every question, reading left to right, Amber Heard level acting. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But again, this is a woman who's new to the role. I'm not making excuses for her. I'm playing the, what is it we talked about last week? Steel man. I'm steel manning her. Steel manning her. That doesn't sound right. I'm not manning her at all, I can assure you. How safe would it be for Erika to say if she thinks whether or not they have the right guy, or to say she doesn't feel safe? That is a good question. And if not, then tell him, I mean, it's not live interview. Tell him, I'm not answering that question. Please don't show it. That's how I would have handled it. If I'm her handler and I'm there and they ask the question, hey, do you feel safe? No, Jesse, we're not answering that question. I'm sorry. Next question. Do you think they have the right guy? Nope, that's not our question. That's for the FBI, the Utah State Police, and the Utah County Sheriff. They'll handle that, and we're not going to talk about it. Next question. I mean, how hard is that? You don't have to answer every question on a non-taped interview. I don't know what their deal was, but I'm sure, grieving widow, I'm sure that was the deal. Erika seems to be consistently expressive and tense. Charlie described her as being very reverent as well. So I think that's just her. Could be. Gary Paramount Tactical says UVU courtyard location info posted. No, it was not posted on. Well, if it was, I didn't see it because it says Ian saw Gary's post on X and says he stands corrected. I have not seen it. Someone please email it to me if that exists. I don't want to be giving wrong information. I have not been able to find where the UVU courtyard was posted on August 27th. I see UVU, but I've not seen UVU courtyard. If it is, I will make a correction. I don't want to be wrong. I certainly don't want to say things that are wrong. I only have my notifications on for Candace, Ian, and you. Appreciate you all. Keep rocking in your chair. I will continue to rock. Self-stim. That's big company. Thank you. That is big company. That's like when they show on a football game or something, like this has only been done 2 times in NFL history. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and you're like, feel bad for the quarterback that just set that record. You got a lot of big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. I am fully on the Candace, Ian Barron train, and my husband is not. But he likes to watch you because he finds you hilarious. So do I. Well, I too find me hilarious. But I don't watch me. That's the difference. What can I do to get your husband on board? This is unacceptable. I heard testosterone shots will help men become more conservative. It's just science, Just Heather. It's just science, Just Heather. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying he's low T. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying he's like Jeb Bush. But you might want to look into it. Did you think it was weird Erika Kirk brought up Charlie Kirk saying the Hebrew word when she was talking about the letters he wrote to her? No, yeah, maybe a little. I also thought it was weird that she said he would come in, put his phone in the drawer, and say Shabbat Shalom. Did he really? Like, that's weird. I don't know any, and I know a lot of them, I don't know any Christians that say that on a regular basis. I mean, maybe it's a joke. You know, Saturday morning, you roll into the gym at 6:30 and you're like, Shabbat Shalom. But I don't know anyone who's like, finally home, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom. Let me tell you a story. I used to work at a law firm. I was the only, I was the only non-Jewish lawyer, I think, there. There might have been one that was not Jewish. And then me. And the law firm closed at like 4:00 on Friday, which is a little unusual. And the first few weeks I worked there, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I realized these people were unreachable Friday night and all Saturday until Saturday night. Like, you could not catch up with them. You couldn't call them. You couldn't stop by the house. Like, they were out of touch. Now, maybe if Charlie was, maybe that's what he's talking about. I don't know. I'm confused why people don't realize she can't openly answer that question if what Candace is saying is correct. It will cause even more chaos. Think big picture instead of needing an answer. I guess the question is, do you think they have the right guy? And I don't know the answer to that. Last one before we get to the beef of the show. I wrote comment prior to you starting regarding Tyler text. Roger. All right. I want to go back in time. I do this from time to time. I want to show you the TPUSA website from March 17, 2019. You see this right here? See that March 17, 2019? That is the TPUSA website on that date. This is from archive.org. You can come up here. Oh, I see what's happening now. Someone accused me of trying to hide stuff because I wasn't showing the URLs, but I guess the way this screen shares, it doesn't show the URLs, which is fine. I'm not hiding anything. This is from archive.org, web.archive.org. If you ever want to know what any website looked back in the past, they do a lot of screen caps, and on big websites, they do screen caps almost every day. Almost every day. So this website has, right there, 6,133 captures in just a few years. You email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. So you can go back, and I just grabbed a random one in March of 2019. So I went back and I thought, and I've done this before, but why does Ted look badly drawn? Because he's Ted. Ted is badly drawn. But if you'll notice, Americans Leading Grassroots Organization of Young Conservatives, Student Movement for Free Markets and Limited Government, nothing about faith, nothing about Christianity, nothing about God, Jesus. Support term limits. I guess that was a big thing at the time. Congress should support term limits. Here's the vision, mission and vision. The organization's mission is to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. Again, nothing about religion. Fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. This is like the Von Mises Institute, but for kids. And that's it. That's it. I can't control that they put Ted Cruz on here. I guess he was hot doo-doo back in the day. He was big stuff. I can't control that. Don't get mad at me for pulling up a picture of Ted Cruz. I share your pain. So then I went and I pulled up a website screen cap from July of 2021. From July of 2021. Is it any different? No. No. If you go down, I mean, it's a little busier. It's a little weirder looking. Big Gov sucks. It's got people here with some of their merch, upcoming events. But there's nothing at all about, Jesus, apple pie, or God, right? It's just, Chinese coronavirus, woke culture, education, leftist policy, black Americans, sports. So this is from the founding of TPUSA all the way up to summer of 2021, July of 2021. This is TPUSA. It is a free market, limited government, libertarian-esque organization. And I want to put a point on your timeline here because something changed about this time. TPUSA was founded by Charlie Kirk in concert with a guy named Bill Montgomery. Most of you don't know Bill Montgomery. He was his history's a little hard to track down, frankly, honestly. Shouldn't be that way. It started what way? Yeah, I'm telling you. I just told you it started that way. You don't have to thank you, L. Parker, for confirming that it started that way, but I told you it started that way. You don't have to tell me it started that way after I've told you it started that way. It was a free market, limited government organization. That's all it was. And here's Bill Montgomery, and he died, you'll notice, from the Rona. He was taken down by the Rona July of 2020 at age 80. At that point, Charlie Kirk is in sole control of TPUSA. I want to play a quick clip of I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you have, you're going to watch it again. It's only a couple minutes. I think it's endearing. It provides tremendous context to what ended up happening to Charlie Kirk. And I think it provides context for how this whole thing got away from him. So I want to play this clip because I think Charlie Kirk would be alive today if he was a little more in control of TPUSA than he was. He lost control of TPUSA, and Bill Montgomery kind of explains that here. So let me play this. This is a clip from late 2019. Bill Montgomery would be dead within 9 months. But let's play the clip here, and you guys can judge for yourself.
This is Bill Montgomery. You guys know Turning Point? I know you guys know Turning Point. They're doing remarkable work out there on the campuses. This guy is the co-founder. Co-founder, right?
Co-founder.
Wow.
So I met him when he was 18 years old.
Who, Charlie?
Charlie.
Yeah.
He was speaking at Benedictine University, and there was a demonstration put on by the former Attorney General of Illinois to demonstrate to 400 high school students the difference between Tea Party people and Occupy Wall Street people. And what was interesting, they put on mock demonstrations, had 3 speakers from each group speak, and really interesting, the kids were bored silly. So, as the 7th speaker was walking up to the podium, I looked at the clock and I said, I hope it isn't going to be a long speech. I turned around and I watched 400 kids going from falling to sleep to wide awake. And so afterwards, I looked at the clock, not afterwards, but I looked at the clock and it was only about 20 seconds it took for him to make these kids wide awake. I was so impressed with his message and the way he did it that I went down to him afterwards and I said, Charlie Kirk, you don't know me, but you can't go to college. He was 18 years old. He was going to go to Baylor. I said, you've got to start an organization to reach out to young people in this country.
Yeah.
And for the next 2.5 years, he and I traveled all over the country. And because he was 18, couldn't rent a car, couldn't get into a hotel.
Yeah.
And after 2.5 years, my wife said to me, well, I got my husband back. But it was the most fun and exciting time of my life to know that this country was going to be saved.
Well, what's exciting too about Turning Point is that, I'm
all right, we don't need to hear the rest of it. I think you get the point. The point is that Bill Montgomery was a mentor. He was more than just the guy driving around with him so he could get a rental car at a hotel room. Bill Montgomery kept him grounded. And what was it that Bill Montgomery saw? Bill Montgomery saw him speak at Benedictine College and thought, you know what? This guy has panache. He's got pizzazz. He's got any other weird word you can come up with. Insert adjective here. So Bill Montgomery takes him and says, don't go to college. If you go to college, who knows what, take a year off, travel with me. Let's go convince some college people about free markets and limited government and see what happens. Now, Bill Montgomery dies. And then I read this in the Los Angeles Times. This in the Los Angeles Times after the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. This is about Rob McCoy. Charlie Kirk's spiritual advice came from a Ventura County pastor. Right here. Kirk credited McCoy as the religious leader who encouraged him to combine his Christianity with his conservative political beliefs. In a 2021 interview, Kirk said that when he first met McCoy, the pastor told him, "You're a Christian, and I want to tell you that not only does the Bible say a lot about civil government, not only does the Bible say a lot about how we should interact with our leaders, but I think you should talk more publicly about it." Kirk's Turning Point USA had previously been an avowedly secular youth organization. That's important. Had it stayed that way, he'd be alive. But he would go on to declare that God was on the side of the conservatives and that pastors had a divine duty to preach against the progressive policies. He liked to say there was no separation of church and state. So what happened? How did Charlie Kirk end up in the grave? Rob McCoy. In the law, we have two types of liability. We have direct cause and proximate cause. Direct cause means, like, I hit you in the head and now your head has a spot on it. That's a direct cause. Proximate cause is I set up conditions so that if everything fell right, it would hit you in the head. Direct cause, proximate cause. Is he the direct cause? Yes, because had it been an avowedly secular institution, a furry who just accepting the government's and mainstream explanation for how he died. If it had been an avowedly secular institution that was worried about free market principles and economics, a furry who plays Magic the Gathering with his buddies is not upset about Charlie Kirk's politics. He doesn't care, probably doesn't know about them. He wouldn't climb the Losi Center, he wouldn't lay down in a prone position, and he wouldn't take a crack at Charlie Kirk's jugular. So that's the direct cause. It's also the proximate cause. It's also the proximate cause. I want to show you something that tells you why I think it is that these organizations always turn religious. This was TPUSA revenue and expenses on an annual basis from when it was founded. 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 10 million, 23 million, and 55 million. Now, those are the numbers. So you saw some growth there as a free market organization. But you'll notice here in 2021, it starts to build. It starts to really build 55 million. And now you're at 80 million, 80 million, 85 million. This is an annual contribution to TPUSA. An annual contribution to TPUSA. You see these three largest ones right here? See these three biggest ones right here? Those are after TPUSA gets in the God business. That's after they get in the God business. Now you tell me. How lucrative is the God business when it comes to politics? How lucrative is the God business when it comes to politics? Well, very. Take his last 3 years before opening TPUSA Faith. 23, 39, 55, 80, 80, 85. Notice also the cost of fundraising. This is where the money laundering can come into play. $1 million in fundraising costs, $1.9 million in fundraising costs, $3 million in fundraising costs, $5 million, $7 million, $5 million. So you're getting more money, but you're paying more money in basically commissions for the people to give it. Now, I think had his mission stayed down here in this range, Charlie Kirk is still alive. Still quite alive. Had Bill Montgomery stayed alive, Charlie Kirk would be alive. You guys remember Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson was raised very poor. The boxing champion turned actor, I guess, one-man actor. Mike Tyson was raised very poor. And he had a trainer and a mentor and a coach named Cus D'Amato. C-U-S, Cus D'Amato. And Cus D'Amato died in 1985. In 1985, Cus D'Amato dies, and then Mike Tyson sort of goes into this wilderness period. He loses his discipline. He starts living like a rock star instead of like a guy who was raised poor and hit the lottery because he could punch people really hard and he could take a good hard punch. Then he ends up losing to Buster Douglas, which, by the way, led to the creation of the MAGA hat. I will get to that story one day. The Buster Douglas Mike Tyson hat the Buster Douglas Mike Tyson fight created the MAGA hat. I will explain it one day if you ever want to see it. Buster Douglas's team used to wear this red hat, bright red hat, looked just like a MAGA hat, with white writing and the same text, looked just like a MAGA hat, and it said, "Only my best, James Buster Douglas." And as big a fan as Don T, Donald J. Trump, as big a fan as President Donald J. Trump is of boxing, I know he saw that hat. And I know in the back of his head he thought, that hat's sharp. That hat's sharp. Anyway, I digress. But my point in all this is there's a fine balance. There's a fine balance when you integrate the Lord's work and business. And you remember what I told you a few weeks ago, that when you're around a lot of money and it's all donated, that people get a little funny around it. Much more funny than if they go out. If you're mowing grass every day, if you're 16 years old and you're mowing grass and you make $20 a lawn and you mow 5 lawns a week and you got $100, you're going to hold on to that $100 like it's the most valuable thing on the planet, right? Because it's hot, it's hard work. Someone just gives you $100 a week, now you're blowing it. Now you're blowing it. And I think it's that way in the God business. I've been around these churches. I've been around these fundraising organizations. I've been around political organizations, faith-based political organizations, secular-based political organizations. And I watch the donations flow in, and people just don't take care of it the same way. They just don't. That's not like broadcasting and you do an ad read. I mean, you have to do the work. You have to sit down. You have to put in the work. But when you have people donating to these massive faith-based organizations, 60, 80 million, $85 million a year, the money's going to get a little weird. I think we're going to see some information coming out about that in the near future. I think there's some people working on that story, and they might be on the way to creating a pretty compelling narrative. But I wanted to take you back in time because I wanted to show you that, because I keep mentioning that TPUSA started out as basically a libertarian organization. It was not a faith-based organization. It had no faith component to it whatsoever. Not to say Charlie didn't have faith, but it wasn't like he went out teaching the gospel. He wasn't the Sermon on the Mount everywhere he went. That's new. That's the last few years. And it's very lucrative business, not just for Charlie, and he did make a lot of money those last few years, but for those hanging on around him. The fundraisers, the vendors. And if you go through these Form 990s, you'll begin to see what I'm talking about. If you go through some of these vendors who were getting paid, you'll get to see what I'm talking about. Because all that information is public. It's of charity. You can see some of this stuff. So I'm just telling you that Rob McCoy pushed Charlie to turn this into a religious organization, and the push to turn it into a religious organization killed him. Therefore, one could conclude that Rob McCoy is indirectly, maybe even directly, responsible for his death. With that in mind, I ask you a question. Do the McCoys act like people who are responsible for his death? I would feel tremendous guilt if I went to somebody and I said, hey, you got a nice organization. You ought to take it to the next level by really going biblical. I think you'll find this is really going to just take it to the next level. And if I did that to somebody and then that is what caused them to die, I would feel so awful. I would feel so bad. Every time the camera was on me, I think I would just fall to pieces. I don't think I could handle it. I think I would be so devastated. And I noticed that's about the time Mikey McCoy showed up. I don't know how he got hired. I don't know who brought him in. I don't know all that stuff. But if you do dig in, it looks like Mikey McCoy showed up about 4 years ago, about the time they transitioned into the Lord business, the Jesus business. The amazing Mikey McCoy. But I would just feel so bad about it. And I don't get the feeling that they do. I'm not ascribing motive to them. I'm not ascribing anything else to them. I just don't get the idea that they do. Now, I want to switch gears. I want to show you a couple of pictures. One from last year, one from this year. Last year's, I think it's last year's. Yes, last year's Turning Point tour, and one from this year's Turning Point tour. The only date on this year's Turning Point tour before Charlie Kirk met an untimely demise. I want to show you this for a particular reason. Look where Charlie Kirk is sitting. You see that? He is on the ground. He is not sitting up in the air. He's not on risers. He's not on luggage. He's not on stilts. He's on the ground. The chair is about the same place as the chair is here on my desk. It's about belly button level. I could move my camera to show you, but I'll never get it back in the right position, and the lighting will be awful. I don't want that. And now we will show you where he sat at this event. And it concerned me. I did find where he was sometimes set an inch or two higher, but I've never seen one where he sat with his rear end above chair level. His rear end above chair level. I mean, that is really, really high. And I thought to myself, why is he sitting so high? Why is he sitting so high? When he's sitting that high, his head is, look, I mean, that's the tent right there. His head is nearly at tent level. How can someone 40-something feet in the air, and he's back towards the back of the tent, how can someone that high in the air even have seen Charlie Kirk's head to get a clean shot? I think there's some investigation that needs to be done there, but I want to show you this video. I think Mikey McCoy might have taken this video. And I want you to look at the angle of the people as they sit, as they're going up. And I want you to think about, while they're all standing there, would someone sitting on top of the Sorensen Center have a clean line of sight if the person was sitting on the ground? Or would you have to raise the person so that their rear end was 3 feet, 4 feet off the ground and their head is nearly in the tent in order to have a clean crack? So I'm going to show you this because I think this is a compelling video in light of this reality. I'll turn the volume off because the volume's irrelevant. But look here. Look at the angle of that. Now, you see that right there? That's the Sorensen Center. But you see, if Charlie's sitting on the ground, does the Sorensen Center have a clean view? I don't know. I've not been on the Sorensen Center roof. I've looked at drone footage from the Sorensen Center roof. I've looked at Google Earth and tried to get the tilt down to the Sorensen Center roof. I can't get it down there. What I would love is if somebody could actually park their drone 6 inches off the Sorensen Center roof and get that view right there. But before they do it, go put 6-foot tall posters in front of where the stage is and see, can you see over that? I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can. My original operating theory was that a gunshot came from right here. I saw a Facebook reel, someone sent my email, where it looked like immediately afterwards when everyone's fleeing, it looks like there's something there. You'll notice there's nothing there now. It's completely flat. Afterwards, immediately afterwards, it looks like there's a little something there. I'll have to dig into it. Now, I heard all this hubbub about there was no overhead surveillance of the facility. There was no overhead surveillance on the day. There were no drones. There was no anything. I'm here to tell you that is a flat-out lie, and I can prove it, and I'm going to prove it here in a moment. As soon as I find the right tab. Here we go. You guys are not going to believe this. I didn't know this existed. Maybe I'm rehashing this for some of you. Yes, here it is. Check this out. Now, this is old. This is a month old, but I don't know why I haven't seen this. This is overhead footage of the day. Do you see these people? This is the day Charlie Kirk was there. That's his tent. This plane circled overhead. I have the flight radar tracker. This plane circled overhead until 15 minutes or so before Charlie Kirk died, and then it went down. You can notice this has a clean angle of all roofs at all times to see if anyone's up on any of them. It's even looking at the trees here where the gun was recovered. You see this? These are the trees where the gun was recovered. That's it right there. This is the house owned by UVU that some of the neighbors suspected one of the shooters might have run into. But that's the trees. That's right there. There's the chicken coop. And they're really zooming in on those trees. This is before the shot was taken. Look how much effort they're putting in on these trees from all different angles. And you can really zoom in on these pictures. That's the Sorensen Center roof right there. That is where he would take his shot, allegedly. Just notice how clean these pictures are. These are the pipes that somebody, I think it was Ian, maybe thought that there was a shooter up there at one point. Looking at all, this plane is flying around before the event, and I think it lands finally at like 12:10, and Charlie Kirk was shot like 10 or 15 minutes later. So it lands about the time that any shooting team would be getting in position because it's recording, and it doesn't want to record. If it's involved, it wouldn't want to record. It wouldn't want to record. I know I need a moderator. I've been told this, and I'm going to give somebody permission to start banning people. I'll find a couple of you guys I like in particular, and I'll give you a wrench. You ever seen those wrenches? And you guys can ban anyone you want, and I'll just defer to you. And if people want to complain about the ban, they can email me and talk about why they got banned. So I will do that before the next show. I will review this show, and I will give moderator. If you want to apply for that, email me. But this is the tunnel where Tyler James Robinson allegedly walked through. This is the neighborhood where Tyler James Robinson allegedly walked through afterwards. I mean, the whole place is, this is the street he walked down. Again, this is almost the angle he shot from there to there, allegedly. And this would let you know if there's anyone up here Say counterfactually you wanted to put somebody up here to take the shot, and this guy was just a scout. You might want to make sure this is clear, right? You might want to have a plane flying overhead taking pictures before the event. This is just amazing footage. It is getting absolutely crystal clear images for up to 15 minutes before the event to make sure there's nobody on any of these roofs. I think it's remarkable footage. Not only that, you can use these to get a security sweep. You know, if you know what you're looking at, you can see where there are officers, if any, where there are patrol cars. Wait, what was it, Tyler allegedly? Squad cars. Where are the squad cars so I can retrieve my vessel? I've got a rifle I need to get out. I'll tell you. But there's a squad car in the way. I can't retrieve my rifle when there's a squad car. I'm going to have to come back later in my vehicle. But there's the stage right there. You can see it. I mean, this is just remarkable footage. And I tracked this plane. I looked up history for months. This is a GIS plane. It goes around and it films different area. But how convenient that it was filming that area that day. How convenient that it was filming that area that day. There's a lot of convenient things in this case. You notice that? Very convenient things. So convenient there were no drones in the air making sure people weren't on the roofs. So convenient that Frank Turk showed up and was like, man, I don't like this place, Charlie. There's a lot of roofs. Charlie's like, hey, don't worry about it. They got it. So convenient that Life is Driving is out there just filming roofs the whole time on a live stream. That was convenient. So convenient that Mikey McCoy, look, we can almost follow the Mikey McCoy path here. Oh, you guys aren't watching anymore. You can almost see where he walked away afterwards. I noticed something, but I got to edit the video before I show it to you, so maybe I'll do it Sunday. I've got video footage of Mikey McCoy in 3 different places on the walkaway, and I think he stopped. I don't know. I'm going to need input from you guys. This is why I need my membership group. This is why I need you guys, because I would love to play it before I publicize it publicly. I would love to play it for my members only group and say, does it look like he stopped you? But I see him walking away, and then I have a video footage in the middle where there's no Mikey McCoy, and then I have a video footage, and in order for him to get there, he would have had to be walking, and he wasn't. It looked to me like he might have stopped near a white pickup truck that had an open door. That's what it looked like to me. I'll have to go back and find that footage, but I can't show it on here because it's kind of gory. You get a lot of Charlie Kirk in that video as they're carrying him away. And I don't want to do that. So I would encourage you guys. I guess I should have put a link up to that before I shut it down. Anyway, it's on my history. I'll go back. I could put a link to that in the description so you guys can play along at home and see that if you want to. All right, where were we? I love the wiggle, never change. That's what she said. I got to go back to it. I mean, The Office was a very good television show. It's the government guys printing money printing, infinite funds, infinite lies, infinite slavery. Matless, you're a weekly commenter. I appreciate it. Very generous. The expenses increases for TPUSA can easily be explained if you look at the SG&A bottom line on the balance sheet. I know what SGA stands for. I have an accounting degree. This is Econ 101 to investigate fraud. You cannot see, from what I put up there, you cannot see where the money's going. You just see that it's listed as administrative. You don't see who the names of the vendors are. You don't see what the categories are. You would need to actually get in and look around at that. But thank you for your comment, and thank you for your generous donation. However, Charlie died. He's gone. Looks like the McCoys can influence all the youth in America with TPUSA with the recent boost in membership, and Israel wins. I agree. The McCoys are firmly in control of TPUSA. which is why I don't know if you guys, maybe I wasn't hinting around at that enough earlier. Maybe I was being too coy. Remember when I said I would have had two things for Erika Kirk to get out of her interview? One is I'm the CEO, I'm the boss bae, and I'm in control. That's one. And then number two is Charlie loved his fans, and he's never going to let you down, and you guys go crazy with this stuff, have fun. We support you. We all want to get to the truth of what happened to him. Those are the only two things I would want to get out of that interview. And the purpose of the first one was basically, look, Rob McCoy's not running Charlie's organization. I promise. But she never got that point across. So we don't know. We don't know. Thank you for your donation. Jason Souza, they had to put him in the air so the video camera gun could get him. The video camera gun. I don't think there was a video camera gun. But I see why you would say that. I do. Face value OG, $20. Thank you. Very generous. The federal government does not have the right to tax us on property we've already obtained. Are we serfs? Did I mention property taxes? Or is this just like your thing? Oh, I get it. It's like when I was saying you campaign against the guy who kept the swing set off the park. That's the only thing you say. So it doesn't matter what I talk to Face Value OG about. He's going after property taxes. We're not serfs. What are we, serfs? How do you like the beef and noodles? I'm not your serf. Not paying property taxes. Too much onion? I like your comment. I like your fervor. Hang around. Teresa Guzman, please go look at the pictures that were taken in Lance Twiggs' journal. I spy Losi and the quad. I will go back and look because I know where they are. I took pictures of them. I didn't see that. Teresa Guzman, will you do me a favor? I'm a busy man. Can you email me that page? And this would be a very convenient time for a red circle or maybe an arrow, or at least a description, bottom left quadrant. If you could do that for me, Teresa Guzman, your $4.99 will not have been donated in vain. S Candy Show, or is it Scandy Show? Hold down on a name and block my friends. This is tech. These things are everywhere and cheap. Surprisingly easy to build. Meant to make you think they have numbers. Cheer Baron. I don't know what any of that means. It's tech. That's the problem. I am so lost right now, but Scandy Show, I'm glad you're not. You get him, girl. Obsessed with sports, $9.99. Where's John Cullen been for the past month anyway? He did good work on Planes Drones. He should be all over this. I noticed John Cullen's been gone since like early to mid-October. It's really weird, too, because he was putting out all this really good work, and then all of a sudden he put out 4 or 5 retweets of his own stuff, which he does sometimes. It's a little annoying, but whatever. It's his show. Do whatever he wants. And then all of a sudden, he disappeared. I'm a John Cullen fan. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything I say. SG&A selling. Yes, Mattless. SG&A selling. Okay. Charges can range from celebrity endorsements to box seats. It's not my TPUSA bar graph. It's not my TPUSA bar graph. It came from Candor. GuideStar. It came from the 990 group. I can see you've never investigated a nonprofit before. If you ever want to look at a nonprofit, the very first stop was always GuideStar. I've had an account in GuideStar for 20 years. It's just a little bit of money you pay every year. And it's well worth it if you're in my line of work. Well worth it. But GuideStar is now Candor. I don't know if they got bought by Candor, or they changed their name or sold or what. But it used to be GuideStar.org, I think. But now it's Candor. And you go to Candor, and they do the bar graphs. They're not mine. No, sir. Madam Guzman, you're back. Please look at the journal pictures, Lance. You just said that. You just said that. I appreciate your $2 more, but it was unnecessary. DF went to the barber and got a fresh fit for $910. Who's DF? DF. Barber and got a fresh fit. Who is DF? Not Charlie Kirk. Not Mikey McCoy. Not Blake Neff. Who is DF? I'm so lost. Oh, Dan Flood. He's a handsome man. He's a handsome man. He probably stays barbered and fresh fitted. Angela Winningham, thank you. Pamela Bailey, Baron, you need a moderator. Please let me help you. There's some nasty trolls in here that need to be blocked. I've been with you since the second week. Pamela Bailey, I know you've been with me because I recognize your comments and your name. Please email me and in your text in the subject say, this is Pamela Bailey, and we will work that out. Email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. You've been a trooper from the beginning and a very generous donor, by the way. Cathar, thank you. 123. Gene Sweeney, super sticker, thank you. Dust to Dominion. Bro, that is a really crazy name. Dust to Dominion? Have you seen the video where security finds a handgun on the ground after the Kirk shooting? Ex-diligent denizen has the video. Just heard it today. I saw where they picked up a handgun holster. I've not seen where they put a handgun, but Diligent Denizen has done great work. If you're not following on X, you're missing out. There are people, there's a handful of people that just, if you're following the Charlie Kirk sphere at all, you have to be involved in. Ian, Candace, obviously. Based Sam Parker, no doubt. Period, end of story. He's the guy. He's one of the guys you absolutely have to follow. Diligent Denizen, Constitution, whatever that guy's name is. I type CON and he comes up. Ryan Matta. Just people. I like Jesse on Fire. I mean, I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I've enjoyed watching him. And I think I always watched Redacted long before Charlie Kirk, but I love Redacted. And I think they've done a good job. Scandy Show, Baron, did I miss the thing you were pacing about? Popular 10 years? No. You haven't missed it. I'm going to do a whole show for it. But let me cover this because I have gotten so many good guesses on this. And the guesses are so good. I'll tell you in a second. I'll set it up for those that missed it. But the guesses are so good that I'm going to search some of those as well. What I said was there's a topic that is just dominant in the American landscape today. And that 5 years ago, it was sort of becoming a thing. 10 years ago, it was a very niche thing. And 15 years ago, nobody ever heard of it. Nobody talked about it at all. 20 years ago, are you kidding? No. I mean, I bet 5 people on earth hadn't talked about it 20 years ago. I hit Google Trends up. And I found out where it came from. That's all I can say right now. I don't want to give it away. I don't, do I? Do I want to give it away? Here's what's interesting about it. I can trace it to 2 very specific locations. One on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. And those locations are so specific, they give the game away. There's a third location that's sort of involved on some of the topics. But there is a source of information that was developed before it became publicized. And that source of information, a lot of the topics in that source of information were Googled. And I have them. And I'm telling you, it's going to be big news when I go with the story. I'm not ready for that yet because we're still talking Charlie Kirk. And you guys need to just commit. You're going to be around for a while. We're going to have a research community. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a lot of live shows. I don't know if we're ever going to kick this up to 3 days a week, but we're going to have some fun. I don't think 4 or 5 days a week is in the cards because I do work. But we're going to have some fun with this, and you guys are going to love this story. It's not going to be like, I'm not doing this, I don't think I'm doing it Sunday. I will advertise it plenty. I will put up preview videos that will show up in your feed if you have your notifications on. So like, subscribe, notifications. And when you put all that in and you end up with all of that, you will be notified. You will have plenty of notice. And if you don't find out I'm about to cover it, it'll be your fault, not mine. But what Scandy Show's talking about here is when I figured out I was right, I got up and started pacing the house. I started doing the Mikey McCoy. Oh, no. Oh, no. I was like General McCoy, pacing, grabbing the sides of my temples. May or may not have had a phone to my ear. I wasn't amazing, so I was not Mikey McCoy. I still can't believe I got freaking rickrolled on the Erika Kirk interview. I'm watching Erika Kirk. I'm halfway, I'm like halfway invested. Mikey. Unacceptable. Mattless, no criticism at all for me on SG&A. Just saying there needs to be an investigation by whomever. You're doing good work as far as I can see. Thank you, Mattless. You didn't have to pay me to say that. I already knew that. I feel like you, Ian, Candace, Liberty Lockdown, and others are creating an opposite of Operation Mockingbird. Thank you for your Mac. Boy, that's high praise. That's high praise, Andrew Nelson. Thank you. For those that don't know about Operation Mockingbird or Operation Mocking Pastor, have we talked about Operation Mocking Pastor? Block anyone in chat, hold message in chat. It will ask if you want to block the name. I'm going to get this under control. I'm going to give a few people wrenches and let you guys go crazy. Don't block anyone who's donating. We'll fight. Omelet dude. I can't eat eggs, but if I could, I would have an omelet on you. Thank you. Christy Brown, 48, $10. I would be a mod. Just don't know how. I was scared for you. First time you were on and I said that you read it, I was seriously concerned. The first time you were on and I said that you read it, I was seriously concerned. I was not concerned. I wouldn't do this if I was concerned. I appreciate that you guys express so much concern for my safety. I am not concerned for a couple of reasons. One is there are much bigger people than me. They have not been taken out. Two, who could kill me? I mean, look at me. Why would you take me out? I'm an asset to the community. How many people can make an Adidas hoodie look like that? No, I'm just kidding. Three, I'm a little bit like Erika Kirk in her interview with Jesse Waters. Everybody's got to go sometime. I don't want to go. Do not interpret that as like open season on me. That's not the case. I really, genuinely want to see my birth of my grandchildren. I want to see my children get married. I want to see a house full of grandchildren. I have 8 kids. I've told them I'm owed 40 grandkids. If you give me 39, I'm going to be pissed. I want 40. I got to be alive to see them. But Dad, what if somebody doesn't have grandkids? Well, then the best you better make up for it. If one of you could have 8, you would help out your brothers and sisters. Do you think Adam B was wearing an earpiece on 910? I have speculated as much, but I don't know. And I don't know that I have a thought one way or the other. I know he took a call in the middle and he was talking about somebody getting away. They got away to the south. I don't know what all that was about. He might have been talking about his son and his wife. I don't know. But his son then shows up. So I don't know who he was talking about getting away. It's like in the 20 to 22, 23 minute range if you want to go back and watch it. See what he was talking about. But I don't know the answer to that. I do know his son was wearing a maroon shirt with 3 buttons, just like Tyler Robinson owned. And I know Henleys aren't exactly super popular. Somebody emailed me and pointed this out. Like, who wears Henleys? What 18, 19-year-old kid wears a Henley these days, particularly when it's 92 degrees outside, particularly with jeans on, particularly a maroon one with exactly 3 buttons like Tyler Robinson always wore. And at one point he frees it, and it looks just like the guy walking through the tunnel. I'm not suggesting Adam's son was him. I'm just saying, what a weird coincidence. What a weird coincidence. Sausage biscuits, not only delicious, but very generous. Omelet Dude, big fan. Only critique is you never seem serious. I'm serious as a heart attack, brother. Hey, I have... I was serious last show when somebody questioned my credentials. Life's too short to take yourself seriously, though. Would you guys watch if I talked like this the whole time? And I said, you'll notice here there's some drone footage. This drone footage actually was taking place up to 10 minutes before the event where Charlie Kirk was cut down at the tender age of 31. Father of 2, though he was. I watched the Erika Kirk interview. It was something to behold. She alternated between emotional and steely-eyed. I mean, would anyone watch that? I wouldn't. I watch entertaining people. I watch entertaining people. If you're not going to entertain me, I'm not going to watch it. But thank you for your critique. More importantly, thank you for your $1.99. Have you done any research on the Epstein files? Would love to hear your thoughts. Not really. Honestly. I save my efforts for things people aren't doing. Like, I want to look at images people aren't showing. I want to look at videos people aren't talking about. I want to, like the Bill Montgomery video today, I thought was very intriguing about how he met Charlie and their first, how the organization started and all that. I thought that was great. The pictures of the drone footage overhead before, up to 10 minutes before the event started, and the speculation, to me, in my mind, the obvious speculation that this would have been fantastic footage in real time to determine whether there was any kind of security presence before you assassinate this guy. Now, again, if it's Tyler Robinson, that probably is irrelevant. But if it's an international cabal, it's perfectly relevant. Why wouldn't you plan somebody to be over the area taking drone footage or airplane footage beforehand? I mean, come on. That's exactly what you would do. Epstein file? I mean, everyone's looked at the Epstein files. I will say this. I don't have it pulled up. I wish I did. January 17th. Charlie Kirk had been beaten on the Epstein files over and over and over and over. January 17th, Charlie Kirk gets on his radio show, gets on his podcast, and says, I'm done talking about the Epstein files. I trust those in charge, and I won't mention them again. 2 months later, he's dead. So I wonder if somebody had talked to him about it. This was after not too terribly long after, maybe a week or two after he had said that he thought Epstein was Mossad. So somebody got to him, right? Find the video. Don't take my word for it. Find the video. I don't have it pulled up. I don't think. Let me look through what I have pulled up here. I don't think I have it pulled up. But I did earlier today, and I watched it. No, I don't have it pulled up. It'll be in my history. But if you guys look at it, it was, I think, January 17th. Maybe earlier than that, maybe January 14th or 15th. But it was him saying he's done talking about the Epstein files. Do with it what you will. Project Constitution. That's it. That's who I was talking about. Twitter tells of Netanyahu security guy, same as Kirk event. I believe you. I don't know anything about that. Thank you for the donation. Dan, why was Dan Flood beside Mikey McCoy during the clips of Erika walking and talking with Jesse during the behind the stage at the TPUSA event? I didn't catch that. I'll go back and watch it. But Dan Flood, I think, works directly for TPUSA. I don't think he's a contractor anymore. If he is a contractor, I think they're his only contract. I mean, I think he works directly for TPUSA. Or like one-to-one with TPUSA. In other words, I don't think Dan Flood's highlighting or moonlighting by covering other people. So if so, he would be guarding the TPUSA people. Diane Doyle. Now, I will say, thank you, Diane. That's very generous, $10. Thank you. I will say that I think the Ole Miss event might have been before the Mikey McCoy story broke. I'd have to go look at Base Sam Parker's timeline of when that story broke. I think he's the one that broke the story, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. But I have to go back and look. And yeah, I think I'm right about that. I think that the Ole Miss event would have been before that. So if what Candace was saying today, for example, was true, was Mikey McCoy was kind of being groomed, and the reason they're calling him the amazing Mikey McCoy, the field general Mikey McCoy, is because they were priming the pump to put him in Charlie's shoes, then it would make sense that Charlie's main body man is now Mikey's main body man. Now, maybe that's changed since the Mikey McCoy meltdown. Either way, I don't want to be rickrolled by Mikey ever again. And I'm telling all you interviewers out there right now, look at me right here. If I tune into an Erika Kirk interview and damn Mikey McCoy jump scares me on the screen, I'm going to be pissed. I'm so tired of that. Knock it off. If you tell me it's Erika Kirk, I want Erika Kirk. I don't want Mikey. I don't even like the Flintstones. Is that serious enough? Whoever said I wasn't serious? Been here since the second podcast. Got Ian to post a link. Hey, you've done the Lord's work. Because Ian posting the link has a lot to do with why I am committed to doing this more. Been here since the second. Thank you very much, Sausage Biscuits. Very kind of you. Simple Man Sam, 1999. Would you be interested in a video of fighter jets escorting a jet matching the Egyptian jet landing in Boise? Yes. Yes, Simple Man Sam. Real Baron Podcast, Baron with one R, not how Trump misspelled his kid's name. Real Baron Podcast at gmail.com. I will watch that video. Would I be interested in a video of fighter jets escorting a jet matching the Egyptian jet landing in Boise, Idaho, 1 hour and 11? Yes. The hell are you talking about? Yes. What was I going to say about that? That's something I was going to say right before that. I can't remember. OP Veil Lifters instead of Operation Veil Lifters instead of Operation Mockingbird. What are you talking about? I'm looking it up. Operation Veil Lifters. I see no such thing. I don't know what you're talking about. When do you plan to spill your super secret story? I got to nail down a few more things. There's a couple more research items I need. You guys don't understand. This is why what I do has so much value and why what other people do is trash. And this is why people like Paramount Tactical don't understand what I do. It takes me a lot of effort to determine what I'm going to put on the screen for you to view. I have a lot of hits that I don't show you because they don't stand out to me as signal. They look like noise. And if I put it on the screen, I think it's going to confuse people. When I put up the Egyptian stuff and it was blank from January to August, and then we started getting hits in August over and over and over, that had value to me. Because I look at it and I say, if it's noise, it's going to be random. Like if I look up something and it's random, it'll show up in Austin, Texas. It'll show up in Los Angeles. It'll show up in Detroit. It'll show up in Indianapolis. It'll show up in New York. It'll show up in Australia. It'll show up in Austria. It'll show up in New Zealand. It'll show up in England. It'll show up all over the place. Or it'll show up at random dates all over the place. But if I find something and it doesn't show up all over the place and it only shows up in 2 locations and those 2 locations absolutely matter, I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it. I had some of those tonight. I don't know that I'll get around to it because it's already been an hour and 45 minutes. But I had some of those tonight. I'll just save it for the next show. Where I was looking all over the place and I couldn't find it anywhere except in District of Columbia in Israel. And that's the only places I could find it. And it was relevant to a little story that broke this week that I'm not covering tonight. And I might do it Sunday. Looking for the YouTube vid email, please. You mean the email that's on the screen right in front of your face? Is that what you're talking about? My email? It's right there. It's right there. Right there. That's it. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I've had it up the whole show. If you're asking for something else, I don't know. Teresa Guzman. Thoughts on the two guys in matching green hoodies? That's the story I was talking about just a second ago that I was a little kerfuffle popped up. It turns out, I think at least one of them, if not both of them, are soccer players at Utah Valley University. The interesting thing about it is, if you search that guy's name, the goalie, and you search his name all over the country, it doesn't appear anywhere except a few locations, a few key locations. And if you search Utah Valley University soccer, it doesn't show up anywhere that I could find except DC and Israel and in like July. That's what I was talking about. If you don't know what he's talking about with the matching green hoodies, you can go to my X feed. It is right here. x.com/realbaronpod. You could go there. It's the last thing I put up. Imagine it's 92 degrees outside. And I'm like this at a Charlie Kirk event. And Charlie Kirk's talking over there. And everyone else is looking over there. And I'm looking this way like this. And then the shot goes off. And I run off like this. And there's two of me. It would be really suspicious. I mean, but it's in a much greener hoodie than this. It's like, ding, it's like green screen green. It'd be weird. It'd be weird, particularly if there are only a few places, Utah Valley University soccer and the goalkeeper's name, who happened to be the one in the picture, were searched. That would be even weirder. But I haven't completely nailed that down yet. I've got a little more work to do. Again, I'm not going to do what Paramount Tactical thinks I do, which is just do a quick search and throw it up on the screen. That's not how I do it. That's how other people do it. And that's why their results aren't always very good. I'm kind of the GOAT when it comes to this. I got here because of Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy Dore. He makes me laugh. He is very, very funny. Obsessed with sports. Can you give us the tail number of the overhead GIS flight? It's for the research club. Yeah, give me a second. I'll have to go into my history, but I can find it real fast. It is hold please. Hold please. Scrolling. Almost there. November 59 excuse me. Scratch that. November 59906. November 59906, obsessed with sports. Say it one more time. November 59906. That is the tail number. And you can look and you can see, and you can actually hit play on the replay of the flight, and you can watch it land right before. I mean, like land, boom, then he gets shot. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, crazy. Pamela Bailey emailed you. Thank you, Pamela. You may be the first moderator. A lot of sellout nonsense comments here. Ignore and keep rolling, Baron. Your body language about the story doesn't lie. America First is here for you. Don't read comments. I probably won't read the comments again in the live chat. Or no, excuse me, in the video when I post them, because some of them are pretty harsh. But not all of them. I mean, most of them are, like, I'd say 98% of them are pretty positive. It's those 2% are so harsh. I'm like, damn, man. I didn't realize I was so ugly. I didn't realize I was so weird, moving around all the time. Paramount say you used trends data to accuse them. Did I? Well, if I did, I apologize. I don't recall doing that. I know I did some research on them because I was shocked to learn that they train with the Secret Service at the motor park there. I thought that was pretty fancy. I mean, I would honestly lead with that. I have a lot of respect for those guys. If I trained at a government facility, if my business was at a facility where government agents train, like Secret Service agents trained, and high-end pretty awesome people, not like routine run of the mill. It's not like low level IRS agents are training there. I'm talking like dope agents are training with Paramount Tactical people, or at least at the same facility. I don't know what the setup is. I would lead with that. Like, that's all I would talk about. Well, the best of the best come train where I train. So I don't know that I use data to accuse them. But if I have, I apologize. I really don't remember doing it, but I probably did. I mean, I'm not calling them liars. If they said I did, I did. Not to accuse them. I don't accuse anybody. Remember, I don't draw conclusions with the trends data. I just bring data points to the surface to let people make their own conclusions and to do their own research. So that I do disagree with, actually. I may have covered them on the show, but I did not say they were involved. Oh, I remember it now. Yes. Remember he went to do, is he the one that went and did the interview and like the first guy that asked questions, the Dell guy, Henry Dell, just happened to be there in a suit? Was that him? If that's him, yeah, I did do that search and I did put that up. Yeah. Guilty. I'm like George said, I did it. I did it. I did it. I didn't accuse him. I just thought it was weird. And it was. Don't forget to check into Erika Lyman, Romania. I mean, I might not. I don't know. Was he really there? Wait a minute. You just reminded me of something I intended to cover tonight and have not covered it. I want to do this right here. Does anyone know who this guy is? Hold on. Does anyone know who this guy is? He's easy to spot because he's the only guy in the park. The only. Oh, hold on. Let me pull this down. Oh gosh, wrong one. Oh gosh, I'm having a terrible time here. Okay, let me pull this banner down. Does anyone know who this guy is? He's the only guy in the place that I could find that had a backwards hat on. And because of his male pattern baldness, he has a danger right here. See this little crescent that's forming up here? See that right there? That's a danger. This guy could get skin cancer if he doesn't turn his hat around. Well, he's the only guy there with and he had a Lyman for Utah hat on. And what I found interesting about it was when you watch videos, and I don't know if it's this particular video. I'll play this video real fast and we can judge together whether it was this video. I'll turn the volume off. But Charlie's throwing hats and this guy's dodging them. And he's like got this scowl on his face the whole time. Must not be this one. Here he is right here at the bottom. He's videoing something. Yeah, this is it. Watch. He's videoing something. He's sick. He's got gloves on. See that? Videoing something with gloves on. That's weird. But it might be related to that thing. But Chucky's coming over here throwing hats, and this guy's ducking them. The reason I bring this up is he shows up in a lot of videos. Now this goes to something else. He shows up in a lot of videos, and he's always got a scowl on his face. But I'm told I have a scowl if you read the comments. The mean comments. If you read the mean, nasty, disgusting, angry comments, I'm told I have a scowl. So why UVU? Why cram it into Charlie's touring schedule once they made the decision to X him? They couldn't do it at other universities? Who did they know there? Why that one in particular? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there was a intel agency presence on campus. I think that's been firmly established. And that's been being hidden. They're hiding that. I don't know. You got the right patsy in the right place. You've got an nice open air bowl here. Weather's nice in Utah. It's kind of a desert. Doesn't rain a lot. So you know you're probably going to be able to hold an outdoor event on a particular day. That's important. You don't want to spend 3 months, 6 months planning something and then get rained out. That'd be pretty lousy. So plus you have nice rooftops. Man, I don't know. I don't know why they would do it there. Have you discussed how UVU has moved outside and the overhead view looks like a menorah? I've not discussed it looks like a menorah. It does kind of. but I don't think it's related. Have I discussed it was moved outside? I don't know that it was moved outside. I would love to discuss it if I knew more about it, but I don't. But it does look like a menorah. But I don't think it has anything to do with it, but I mean, it kind of does. I emailed, I'll be your second mod if needed. Very kind. Very kind. Is that Ted Cruz in an Israeli cheerleading outfit? Because that's hilarious if that's what that is. Is that what that is? Bro, that's funny. That's funny. You, Ian, and Candace are the veil lifters. Truth to oh, thank you. Veil lifting sounds so. In my religious tradition, veils are almost sacred objects that cover women while they're at church and they're praying. I wouldn't want to lift a veil. That sounds not like something I wouldn't want to be involved in. Sounds scandalous. But if we're talking about lifting the veil, truth telling, that makes a lot more sense. And so thank you. Thank you. That, again, incredibly high praise you guys would put me in that crew. I mean, those are pros. Those are absolute pros. Paramount Tactical, Go Browns TD54. Paramount Tactical made a 3D version of the site with drones. He posted it online for people to use it. You should look into that. I will. That sounds like a great use of resources, and it could probably answer my question about the bowl effect and the Losi Center. Again, I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm just saying I'm looking at these videos and wondering if you could. Backwards Hat Guy, he's on Lyman's social media vid. He looks like he's holding a gun under the flag, sending link to Gmail. What? He did have a Lyman for Utah shirt on. And if we're being honest, he kind of looks like a psychopath wearing gloves and a backwards hat. Like, that's a weird combination. I don't recommend it. If you're going to be out there in public, don't do that. Don't do the gloves and hat thing. That's a bad combo. That's a bad combo. Let's see. Did I have? Oh, this one. Yeah. I was so concerned about when Charlie was mic'd. I found a video of it. Finally. It took me a long time to find one, but I finally found a video of it. I want to play it because if I've had this concern, you guys have had it. There was so much talk about Charlie Kirk's mic and whether it played a role and this, and I don't know. I'm still very much up in the air about that. I'm not saying the mic killed him. I'm saying the mic may have played even a small role, if not a large role. And I noticed when he's tossing the hats, there's no mic. And then he gets done tossing the hats. He goes and sits down and starts talking. I didn't see where he got mic'd. I thought, what the hell happened here? Did they splice the video? And so I finally found a video of him throwing hats that shows him getting mic'd at the very end. I'm going to mute it just because it's very loud. All right, pointing, laughing. He seemed like a genuinely decent human being. I can't believe he's dead. That's him getting mic'd. You just missed it? Mr. 1776 himself over here is the one doing it. So there he's tossing. Boom. That's him getting mic'd right there. I know it's hard to see because Pippi Longstocking walked in the way here, but that's him getting mic'd right there. That's him getting mic'd right there. And then a handshake and off he goes. Oh, what's all that racket? Oh, those are advertisements. I thought that was part of the video. All right. Let me stop it before you guys see what else I was working on. Not that you couldn't go back and look at it. Guys, this has been 2 hours. This has been a lot of fun. Do I have any more of these? No, I don't believe I do. You guys have been very generous tonight. As always, you guys keep me motivated to do this. I will read those emails. Keep them coming. I do not respond to everyone. I saw a couple people upset, like, you never respond to my emails. I respond to them here and there, like maybe like 1 out of 50. But I open every single email. I open every single email. I read most of them. The short ones I read all of. The long ones I determine whether I'm going to read it or not as I'm going. But I skim them. I may not read every word. But every email so far I open, I will commit to that until the show grows and it gets overwhelming, and then I'll have to find a way to pick and choose. I will get with some of the people who've emailed and try to determine a path for moderation. And I will put some additional thought into the research group because I do want to do a research group. But again, it will not be a full production. I may not have the lighting right. I may not have the video right. I probably won't be wearing one of these amazing Adidas hoodies. You could buy this sponsorship right here because Adidas apparently isn't going to. So I could put your business here and wear it during the show. And it would be much more informal. No opening monologue. No, it'd be more like a staff meeting. Like, what are you guys working on? Here's what I'm working on. Let's work through it. Hey, I don't like that angle. Hey, I do like that angle. Where'd you learn that? Hey, send me that link. That kind of stuff. That's my envision. That's what I'm envisioning. If you guys have something else in mind, let me know. You all need to remember that Barron said he has ADHD. The smartest and most genius of people are often ADHD. That would explain why he's so animated, moves around so much. Give grace. He amazing. I agree with every word of it. I don't know that I'm not like diagnosed with ADHD, but I definitely got it. I got it bad. Every time I'm scrolling social media and one of these, like, if you have any 4 of these 9 symptoms, you have ADD. It's like 9 for 9. 9 for 9. Does your face tick? Yeah. Do you notice I do that a lot? Yeah. Do you have trouble sitting still in a seat? Yeah. Do you go down rabbit trails? Guilty as charged. I wouldn't be here and you guys wouldn't be watching. So this has been a lot of fun. I strongly encourage you guys, the best thing you can do to support this show, apart from donating, which is excellent, and very welcome, by the way. The best thing you can do, like, subscribe, notifications, and share. Share with your friends. Put it on social media. Again, I'll probably put a clip or 2 up in the next couple of days. Don't be confused. Read the description. But I'll put a couple of clips up that you guys can share because that helps get the message out on the program. This thing is growing like gangbusters. When I did the first program, I had 300 viewers, 300 subscribers. The first show I did on this topic initially got under 100 views. Then people started sharing it. I don't know how people even saw it, but a couple people saw it. They started sharing it. And then I got to like 1,000 subscribers and a few hundred views. And then I got to like 4,000 subscribers. And then Ian found it and started sharing it, and then it just blew up and went out of control. Sam Parker found it, started sharing it. Candace didn't mention my name, but she called me the guy who did Google Images. That had a noticeable effect. I don't know if people went searching for who's the guy that does Google Images, but like that day it added 1,000 in a couple of hours after she said that. So, every bit of exposure helps, and you guys, to the extent you like this show, and can give it some exposure, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will be back at least Sunday night, if not before then. Have fun.